First though, Euphoria was where Kendrick laid it out and basically says, I'm what the culture is feeling. He basically said, I am something that you can never be, and that is exactly why you can never beat me. This was never about rapping ability. This was about...
But that's never what's going... Because hip-hop ain't about rapping ability. Hip-hop is about culture.
That's not true. That's not true. In certain situations...
It is.
Yeah, in certain situations...
It's only been about the act, and this is what I'm trying to tell you. This is what you don't get, and this is at the core of it in the Bronx and New York. It's about culture. Okay. Not about rapping ability, act. This ain't pop
Not with
music.
everything. Not with everything.
Papoose have a #1.
Jay-Z and Nas. Jay-Z and Nas. I don't think that wasn't as much as about culture as about...
I'm just saying,
a lot of rapping and song making, right? Like
it's about culture, act. It's about culture.
But both guys check.
It's about the lingo you use, how you present yourself, act. That's what hip hop is about. Anybody can rap. Post Malone raps. Anybody can rap, act. It's about culture, cuz that's
it's what only
you don't
about
get.
culture.
That's why listen, act. The reason you so big, act, is because you covered Chicago culture.
Okay.
Not no fucking rap. You covered the culture, and then the rap scene was born out of it. It's the culture. Your career is due to that Chicago culture. That whole culture, that get down that you educated the rest of the country on.
Chicago birth.
Wait. Hold on, though.
You got
Glasses.
this wrong.
All right, Glasses. Here's the thing, though, and this is a very... I think this is going to be an unpopular view. That was always Drake's weakness. He's from Toronto. You could always have that be like, hey, you're not from where we're from. You didn't grow up.
But it's not because it's not because he's from Toronto. It's because he's a Jewish man from the suburbs.
Okay, all right. And by the way, you know what I said? I said if we had Kendrick that went at let's say a Future or even a Meek Mill, like granted, I know he's more clever and wittier than those guys, but he couldn't use that angle. So the angle that he used against Drake,
crazy as fuck.
You
crazy.
You can't use culture against Future,
bro. The way you be crashing on Meek for his lack of cultural relevance. That doesn't even make any sense to your argument.
No. I crash on Meek for his lack of intelligence, but Meek, Future, they're from the same culture. That even if it's from a different side, Kendrick couldn't have used culture against them. He would just have to out-rap them and outsmart them. Not saying he wouldn't have won, but the glaring thing with Drake that was easy is Glasses said it. Yo, you're the Jewish guy that at the end of the day, somebody would... I know Ross is kind of ancillary to this.
That's not hip-hop, Ack. He's just not hip-hop.
But that's not fair, though. How is he not hip-hop? Do you really think
because
he's not hip-hop?
Street urban culture. Just listen. Yes, hip-hop is street urban culture personified through them arts and elements. He's not. He's a pop artist. He covers music like a pop artist. He's Madonna as a rapper. He does the exact same thing, cuz. The same thing, act. One week he'll have a low rider under the Bay Bridge and he's a West Coast artist. Next week, he's a New York artist and he started from the bottom, even though he started from a middle-class community. It's just different. Act. Next week, he's like, what the fuck, like Atlanta niggas. He's a pop artist. He just makes really great rap songs and he's a nice MC, but he's not a hip-hop artist. That's why he was always destined to lose this battle. You was never going to beat this person who was so tied into culture. And outside of that is an unbelievably talented artist himself. Y'all don't get that because y'all think if somebody could rap good, they hip-hop. That don't make you hip-hop.
No.
You covering hip-hop don't make you hip-hop.
If Kendrick was from New York, they would have fucking... This would be a whole nother conversation.
Oh, for sure.
They would be rallying around that shit like it was crazy.
No.
Hip-hop before it was rapping act.
I'm agreeing with you.
Rapping didn't start in rapping act. Hip-hop had people dancing first. They had music first. Graffiti first.
Hold on.
Rapping was the last thing. Act.
Hey, by the way, I'm agreeing with you.
Dancing Hotline Bling.
Hold on. I'm agreeing with you. Here's my only issue with that, right? Because, by the way, I do think this was a Drake-specific thing. My thing is that I believe the culture had co-opted and adopted Drake to be hip-hop, and Kendrick just came out of the blue and said, no, he ain't. Because I ain't gonna lie to you.
But they didn't accept him. Act. He understood
from 2013,
from 2013
to 2020.
The value of it.
Wait.
He understands the value of it. So they didn't co-opt him. They just enjoyed. They just made records with somebody who could get bigger budgets and was a great talent. That don't make him the culture. You can't play this. This is real. So it's different. Act. It ain't like all the rest of this shit. This ain't just rap. This shit real. So they never adopted him. He just was somebody that people like to do music with. He was a talented artist. But real fast, when that battle happened, you seen exactly how uncultured he was.
Hey, by the
you
way,
see all the dumbass shit he was saying. You
by the way,
you can see it right now. You see him suing a company over losing the battle. You see him putting out stuff talking about this man
companies all the time. And
personal business.
I agree with
you
though.
got you acting weird.
Yeah, I agree with you to a certain extent, but here's the thing. Like, you're trying to overcomplicate it and try to make it. No. If Drake was a black man from the hood, it don't matter if you're culturally in tune, because I could mention certain black men from the hood who are ignorant as shit. Doesn't mean they're cultural, unless you're saying black culture is ignorance. And what Kendrick said and his angle towards Drake would not work towards them. The reality is that Drake is just a half black guy, and that was always going to be a vulnerability.
Eminem is culture.
Hold up, Drake
he's not black at all.
Man. He's not a half black man. Drake is a black man. He's a brother. He's not a half black man. That's a brother. He was raised. But
you mentioned about him being Jewish. Like, these things wouldn't matter if we're talking to a black man.
You miss it. That's not true, because being black just is more of a racial epithet to reflect different things. It's reflecting something else. Like, it's just different, right? But what I'm saying to you is you're talking about culture. Hip hop is culture, and everybody black don't live the same way. That's why I keep using the term street urban culture. Different people. The Beastie Boys grew up Jewish, if I remember correctly. There's people who grew up in street urban culture. He just didn't. He don't speak slang. You talk to this nigga. He don't speak slang. He don't talk the way we talk. Nothing about him is nothing from no ghetto. Nothing about his culture. And it ain't like everybody from hip hop is from the ghetto.
If Drake was not culture. Half
he
black,
is a middle class man. He's like a fucking an attorney who just turns on the mic and becomes a nigga.
I guarantee if this is a dream world. I guarantee if the angle that Kendrick went with, if he tried to say anything to Future would just tell him shut the fuck up and nobody would have cared because they wouldn't hit. Drake
Future the one that let him do it. He the one kicked him off.
But he said that motherfucker off. If he was battling Future, he wouldn't have said the same thing.
You understand too, when Dodge control verse and got at everybody, niggas ain't say nothing then.
So y'all agree
when it comes down to when it comes down to lyrical ability, when it comes down to really sitting there being strategic, when it comes to the essence of hip hop, that's what Kendrick is. He's studying his whole life for this.
So I agree with you. He couldn't use the same thing with Future, but the problem is he couldn't use it with that. Couldn't do that to him.
All right, hold on. So Drake's Achilles heel is that he's a half black, half white person who is Jewish from Toronto, who may have not grown up in the hood.
He is not. Drake Achilles heel is he's a fraud.
Okay, explain that. Okay, there we go. That. No, explain
now
that.
We're here.
You have to break this one down, brother.
No, he's not of anything culture. Everything is just a different level of culture that he uses to make music. He's not of any of those cultures. The one culture that he is of is Jewish culture. He don't use slang when he speaks. He speaks proper English. He's a really good guy. He's not even a bad guy. He's just not of street urban culture. So he's been acting like he's of different street urban culture from all around the country.
Wait, because
his songs went from being really cool and making perfect sense to where he's talking about spinning the block and hurting people.
Wait, that's not true though. You say Drake don't use slang. I think Drake knows how to code switch. Hold on, I think Drake knows how to code switch like many people. Like, there's many people that know how to code switch, right? Like, you put him in front of this.
He's not code switching, Act. He's not code switching, Act.
So you're just saying that
you talk to him, Drake. You talk to him, Act. You talk to him. Like, you are somebody like me that has talked to him. You know who this brother is in real life, and he's not a half white. He's a brother. But again, we talking about him being Negroid. His descendants from Africa. His father is from Memphis. But he is not of any of them else. That's a middle class child actor success story, Jewish kid from Canada.
His blood is Egyptian. You heard him.
And
you heard?
Ooh, that's a brother. Like, y'all got to stop saying half white. Stop calling that man ain't no white man.
By the way.
And again, he's also uncultured in this land.
Hey, by the way, the reason why I reject that, and I hate to bring up somebody who I really love, to make my point, but you wouldn't say that to 21 Savage, and he grew up until like he was 9 or 10 in the UK, which even that like, you know, culture is different from what.
Hell no, them motherfuckers is crazy. What you mean? UK got it.
Hold on.
Then he went to Atlanta in the ghetto.
But when he rapped,
he's extra hip hop.
No, but when he
I think Act not really understand what you're saying. Meaning, like,
I do understand what he's saying. What I'm saying, they're picking and choosing.
If Drake was raised by his black father, it wouldn't be a conversation. I think that's where you're missing it. Like, it's not. It don't matter if it was Canada, if it was France, if it was whatever.
From a fucked up place in England, and he from a fucked up place in Atlanta.
He's from the culture.
He's not a middle class child actor, Nickelodeon star that's playing through different people's cultures. You know the difference. That don't take away that cuz is a dope talent, but you don't gotta lie.
No, hold on.
He ain't nothing like 21. 21 is actually cultured as a motherfucker.
I'm not trying to use 20, and that's my guy. I want to throw him under the bus anyway. What I was trying to say is that I really believe that y'all are just using the fact that he grew up. You're right. He grew up around his white mother, and because of that, you're kind of more penalizing him than understanding that there's many people within hip hop that may have had different experiences while they were growing up. The reason why I use 21 is that, hey, he grew up maybe in a different tradition. I'm not saying it's not black or nothing like that, because it clearly is. Both of his people are black. But it wasn't Atlanta, but then later it was Atlanta. Like y'all are almost using and indicting Drake for literally, like, for a part of his life growing up with his mom and maybe like being a child actor. Like, is that like the thing? Like,
wait. Leangelo Ball has a white mom, but he was raised by a black man. So that's the culture of what we're talking about.
Culture is not how you born. It's not an indictment. It's nothing wrong with Drake.
All right, hold on.
The only thing wrong with Drake is he's acting
Ball
like a bunch
Drake,
of people that
and tell
he's
me
not.
the difference. Explain, because you just brought it up. I forgot who just said it. LeAngelo Ball and Drake. Again, I'm not here sitting and saying, oh, Drake is whatever. But I do think that you guys are skirting around a main issue. The easy thing to pinpoint about Drake is that you're a half black man that grew up with your white mother, and because of that,
we didn't say that because we said Eminem was right. It's culture. He's white.
It's just white people.
Yeah, you're not getting the point out.
It's culture.
It's culture.
You're just being disingenuous.
By the way, anytime Eminem,
nothing to do with race.
It does have. Hold on, when Eminem got into When Eminem got into back and forth skirmishes, that's the first thing they brought up about it. Boy, you a white boy. That's a fact. When he was,
and it didn't matter, and you know what?
They didn't say he wasn't the culture though.
It
didn't matter
because nobody
50 had to jump on Ja Rule. Like, there's a lot of shit that, like, when anybody was, even Benzie, when people start bringing up the fact that Eminem was a white guy, even though culturally
it didn't work.
He won. He won every time. Culture won every battle.
Culture gonna win.
But
Culture's gonna win every battle.
He didn't win it as culture. So y'all want me to believe that Eminem won battles as culture versus black people? Stop playing.
No, you're missing a point. We're saying you couldn't use that against him, and nobody cared because we understand he's cultured. That's the difference.
Wait. Answer my question. How Drake is not culture, and Drake did so much shit into culture?
Drake is an artist. That don't make you cultured as an artist.
The sad part about it, everything Drake does, you guys. The sad thing is that everything you guys do, you guys put what Drake. Like, all right, okay, I get it. And you know why maybe I empathize or I see Drake a bit, maybe like, not, first of all, both my parents are black. My mama just came down here.
But you also a middle class kid that came to this country as a middle class kid. So you think it exes you out. That's not true.
No, hold on.
At this point, niggas saying that Diddy is more cultural.
Wait. Yo,